Hello, it's Fred and Linda with New Venture, New Day, back with day 15 of our Westward Ho adventure. This time we are in Zion National Park after a drive up from Kanab, Utah. We took the longer 86-mile route that heads south on 89A out of Kanab and then takes 389 towards Springdale. That route took us about an hour and 45 minutes, but it's a much easier road to drive than the shorter route of 42 miles north on Highway 89 out of Kanab. Is about half the distance and only about a half an hour less driving. Although very scenic, it's also very windy, and I just wasn't up to taking all of those curves in that tunnel. We still managed to get to the parking area in the park by 7:30 before it was filling up. You need to be there before 8 or you have to start parking in Springdale and taking the shuttle from Springdale into the park. We're further back in the lot, and as we start to make our way to the shuttle pickup point, you can see that the lot is getting pretty full. You need to get to the shuttle to travel through the park. During the summer months, you're not allowed to drive except for certain situations. The shuttles start running at about 7 o'clock in the morning. There was a lot of activity at the restrooms and the shelters and the visitor center. A lot of people at the visitor center checking that out before they take the shuttle ride into the park. By 8 a.m. we had to line up in quite a queue for the shuttle. You can see they've got queue lines set up, and we started to snake our way around to the shelter area where you wait for the shuttles to fill up. Shuttles are coming and going already at a pretty good clip. They're all electric, they don't have a diesel smell, and they don't make any noise, so that's kind of nice. They get one full, get it moved out, and you get ready to get on to the next one. A lot of shuttles running, and it's a very efficient service. And you see them going back and forth all day long in the park. We decided to start our day in the park by going way up to the end to stop 9 to do the roughly 2-mile Riverside walk through the lush canyon where the Virgin River flows, coming down from the higher elevations. It was still pretty cool out when we got prepared to take our walk up through the canyon, not knowing exactly what we were going to encounter once we got there. Riverside walk, are you ready to go?
I'm ready.
All right, there's a space between us and the people ahead of us, so we can have a nice quiet walk, so let's get going. Time and water keep making the canyon deeper and deeper, and as you walk along and take a look up, you can see you are quite a ways down in a pretty deep canyon that's been formed over a long time. Starting out, this is a pretty smooth trail. It's all paved, a lot of sand on it, but you don't have to worry about slipping here because it's pretty flat. We will see what lies up ahead. It might change. Beautiful stream running through the canyon here. Imagine this gets pretty exciting when there's a big heavy rainfall. We are doing the river walk on the lower unfinished trail section. There's a step down area from the main trail up here where everybody's walking the paved trail. Everybody's moving along at a real fast pace up there, and this stretch of trail is very peaceful right along the stream. Something you might want to consider when you come up here. There's even a little bitty rapids here towards the end of the trail before you get back on the main trail. Here's an interesting spot where debris is left behind when the water gets high and rushes down through the canyon. A lot of force behind that. That brought us to the end of the walking trail, where you could proceed with a permit and with the proper equipment that you can rent at the visitor center to go through the cut in the canyon there where the stream originates, and that is another extended hike. And you need to be careful and follow the rules here, because if it's threatening bad weather, they will not let you up in here because there is the potential of flash flooding and you can get washed away. We turned and headed back to the shuttle stop pickup area to go to our next stop after what had been a very cool and refreshing start of the day on the river walk through the canyon. We hopped off at stop number 5 where the lodge is and spent a few minutes walking through there. Here's where you can stay, and actually one of the places you can drive a vehicle and be allowed to have your vehicle in the park without using the shuttle. And it has a marvelous gift shop as well, one of the bigger and nicer gift shops we saw on our trip. So we spent some time going through that, looking at the things that were available there for souvenirs, and picked a couple things up. It was now 11 a.m. and we decided it was time for a cup of coffee, so we found the cafe next to the shuttle stop, sat down in the shade and enjoyed that before we went on to our next destination. The next destination was a walk up the Grotto Trail, a pretty easy walk, about a half a mile to the picnic area. We headed out on the trail to see what we would find there, because it's a connector with several other interesting trails. After a short walk on a paved section, this trail is a little more rugged than the other one we walked on this morning. It's unpaved. Sand, gravel, a few rocks here and there. A little more like what we've been walking on the past few days in some of the other parks. This is an interesting formation of rocks. Wondering how long it's going to stay put like this. I'll have to come back to this one too in a million years and see what happened. What stands out in my mind walking on this trail and going through the park is that the focus of this park is the bottom of the canyon. Having been to the Grand Canyon a couple of times, the focus is really on the upper rim. And while you can go down into the lower canyon, a mule ride or with a hike, the focus is still up above. And here at Zion, it's down below, looking up all the time at the canyon walls. Kind of an interesting perspective on things. And this particular trail, coming off from the lodge, is much more peaceful, except for apparently there was a problem further up, because the park rescue people are on their way. About a half a mile from the lodge is this nice picnic area, shaded, restroom facility, the Grotto Trail. You can head back or you can go on to the grotto, which I think it's a horse apiece. It's a half mile back to the lodge or a half mile to the end of this trail where you're at another shuttle stop. Across the road here at stop 6. And check out the trail on the other side. So you can walk partway on this Grotto Trail, but to go all the way up to the Angel's Landing, you need a permit. It's very treacherous, like a 1,200-foot drop on one side and 600 on the other. So we'll go partway on the rest of this Grotto Trail. There's a nice bridge that crosses the grotto. Another nice view of the stream coming down from the Narrows. Bridge gets a little crowded at times, so we hit a lull here. You can stop and take a picture. Here are your two options after the bridge. West Rim Trail, the points of interest along that, or the Cayenta Trail, 1 mile to the Emerald Pools. So we chose the West Rim Trail route. Looks pretty smooth. Lizard just went by. I've run out of names for all the lizards I've encountered. So we're going to go out to the lookout point. Going the other way on that trail, that went up a steep cliff, and I've had enough steep cliffs for the last couple of days. Now we are on the opposite side of the river, looking back at the shuttle road. And suddenly the trail turns to cement again, a sidewalk journey. We may be halfway on the trail. We didn't measure the distance, but we're not going to go all the way up to the top. I got some zoom photos of the area, and there are people way up here, and then they go into this cut, I'm told, and across, and then it levels out to the lookout point. But you have to get there first, and it's getting very warm out today. So we are going to head back. Should be a little easier than the trek up here so far. So this is a little more aggressive trail, but not yet as bad as some of those trails we've taken earlier in the week and some of the...
Might have been nicer in early morning.
Yeah, this might have been the one to do early if we wanted to see the view.
Not at noon o'clock.
Not at noon, no. And this way is the trail. The Emerald Pools. It's only a mile, but it's all uphill. We just got off at stop number 2, which is the museum site, and also the trailhead for the Grotto Trail. I probably didn't pronounce that correctly, but we're going to check out the museum. In the museum, we found a small gift shop and, of course, a lot of great displays filled with information about the park and what's in it and its history. So we took a walk around in there for a while and checked it all out. It was a great place to hang out on what was turning out to be a pretty warm day walking the trails in the park before we hopped on the shuttle to head back to the visitor center. These water filling stations throughout the park at the shuttle stops are very helpful. Back at the visitor center, first time getting in there today. Park store, information area, and permits. As we stroll around the gift shop, taking a look at what they have to offer, please remember that if you like this video, to click like and consider subscribing so you can see the remaining videos in our Westward Ho adventure tour. This is day 15. Day 16 is coming up. Left the park and driving through Springdale, where you can park for anywhere from, I believe it's $10 to $25 on the street and then a few lots, and take a shuttle. And it was parked full way down in here, and the visitor parking at the park is full. People are still coming. They're lined up waiting to get into the park after 2 p.m. in the afternoon. Busy, busy place. We wrapped up our day 15 visit to Zion National Park with a nice cool dinner in our hotel room. Want to thank you all for watching the video. 2 things to remember when visiting Zion is get there early, and if you're going to hike the grotto, do that early in the day while it's still cool, and save the Riverside walk for later in the day when it's warmer and the canyon is cool to walk in. Until next time, enjoy your travels and take care.